In England, they say football is a game of two halves, and that was certainly the case for the Eagles in their season-saving win over the Giants. Going into half-time, down 19-3, Jim Schwartz made some interesting adjustments to his defense. The Eagles were down by a tremendous deficit. They needed a big effort defensively if they were ever going to muster any kind of offensive firepower to get back into this game. How did Schwartz do it? How did he take a group of practice squad corners and turn them into a defense that could shut down Odell and the Giants? My name is Liam Jenkins, and this is Eagles Film Room. Before we get started, guys, don't forget, head over to phillysportsnetwork.com every single day for Eagles, Sixers, Flyers, Phillies and Union content. We've got you covered 24/7, and of course, if you're new around here, hit that subscribe button. It really does mean the world to us. If we can get to 5,000 subscribers by Christmas, that would be a dream come true. So let's keep grinding. We're building this group together. We're getting a fantastic community. We want you, that's right, you, to be a part of it. So hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and enjoy the film room. To understand what defensive adjustments were made, we first need to see what was going wrong. And to put it simply, there was too much responsibility on the corners and safeties, and there was some severe miscommunication issues forced by the Giants. So on one of the first plays of the game, we see Chandon Sullivan outside. Now, he's the one with the two lines coming off of him. He's got to watch that tight end and Saquon Barkley coming out of the backfield. And that's a lot to kind of look for when you've got someone as lethal as Saquon. But he freezes in that moment because he's not sure whether the tight end is coming. He then misses a tackle. Now that would be fine if it was a one play thing, but it wasn't. A few plays later, Sullivan tries to seal the edge here and just whiffs, absolutely whiffs on a tackle there against Barkley, which in turn sends the Giants down for a huge game. Here's another view of it. He comes down, gets a little bit flat-footed. He's going one way, Barkley's going the other. Thank you very much, says the former Penn State running back, and he's off to the races for a big gain. Sullivan wasn't the only man who was guilty of this, though. Nate Jerry also had some bad whiffs along the way. We see him there, number 47 in the middle of the field. He's following the fullback, then realises that Wayne Gorman's coming through the middle. There's a tremendous hole. He whiffs on a tackle, takes a bad angle. It's another big gain. If there's one thread connecting all of these plays, it is just mental processing or communication. And here we see another potential missed assignment. The Eagles are in man coverage. They're expecting a run from Saquon Barkley, and what the Giants do instead is just flip the ball to him out of the flat. Now Barkley makes a very intelligent play, just throwing Brandon Graham around. We see it in slow motion here. If you blink, you miss it, but there's a few things to keep an eye on in this play. So Manning drops back. There Saquon throws Graham around, catches the pass, and at this point he can either follow his blocks where he's actually got an Eagle turning his back, or alternatively he can make an adjustment, go outside the flow of traffic and dive into the end zone. Now this may not have been a touchdown if it wasn't for whatever mistake Corey Graham makes, where he trips over the legs of Camu Grugier-Hill, stumbles, and then just opens a wide window for Barkley to run into. We see another angle of that one here. There's the flip, and Graham just trips over, gets his leg tangled, easy TD for Saquon Barkley. And another argument was this defense was just too complex during the time. This is a mesh wheel route. It's something the Eagles run plenty of times. It's the perfect man or zone beat. If it's man, you're hoping for some separation from what could be a pick play, or you've got the post route over the top. If it's zone, all of that cushion breathes back and you've got the check down. Now this is interesting because we see a lot of adjustment there from Malcolm Jenkins and Corey Graham. They shuffle a little, they know exactly what's coming. There was motion before the snap, which left Chandon Sullivan again in no man's land. The Giants tried to exploit that. They get a nice little game with Saquon Barkley, and if we see it from this angle, watch Sullivan once Barkley breaks out into the open field. It's just another one of those errors where it looks like number 39 isn't too sure where to go. Jenkins doing his best to cover all bases with the personnel that he's got. They really tried to attack this during the first half. They went up tempo and they used a lot of motion. Now what we're going to see here is Sterling Shepard go into the slot and then pull back once the ball is snapped outside. Now Chandon Sullivan is going to get lost in the sauce on this play. It's easy to get confused, but watch the receiver. Sullivan's trying to make an adjustment. Jenkins comes down, knows what's coming, but Sullivan bites. He goes in towards the pocket thinking he's defending a run and just gives up an open window. You'll see it better from this view. The minute Malcolm Jenkins follows him to the other side of the field, that's absolutely fine. It's played perfectly. He's expecting Sullivan to still be there, but Chandon's already bitten and come down to defend the run. Now, this is another example. Malcolm Jenkins was arguably the MVP of that game, because he was the one making these adjustments, making these calls. Now here, he's got an eye on Rhett Ellison. He's telling Nigel Bradham to watch him. You can see the hand, you can see the eyes there. That's a big time adjustment. Giants stacked up against their goal line. They're gonna drive the ball. Now they actually pull the tight end, and the minute that happens, Jenkins knows he's shifting Bradham in motion to seal that block, because if Barkley gets going, it's a chip block we see there. But if Bradham hadn't made that tackle, if Bradham hadn't shifted over to close that lane, Barkley would have had a gaping hole. Great adjustment post-snap and pre-snap at the line by Malcolm Jenkins. The Eagles also tried to do some older things with their cornerbacks, like just give them half the field on a zonal look. And we see here Chandon Sullivan is just way too far away from Odell Beckham. There is literally an entire field between them. Odell breaks over the top. It's fair play to try and keep the receiver in front of you, but this was the play that tilted the balance of the game. It's that crucial pass breakup from Malcolm Jenkins. It could have been argued it was holding, but let's be honest, the refs were atrocious that game. The Eagles get away, momentum gets sealed. But by this point, it was becoming rapidly clear that the Eagles needed some sort of adjustment, some kind of change, because there were too many players making too many errors. And even there, that's not really on Chandon Sullivan. The coverage was nice, but this one was absolutely on Nate Jerry. Now, it's a play-action look. He's going to try and come in to defend the run, but he's going to have two receivers, one he's assigned to and one he's not. Now, you can see he automatically backs off when he sees the quarterback turn. Doesn't even see Rhett Ellison going to his left. He's focused on the receiver going to his outside. Blown assignment, easy first down for the New York Giants. But this may be the most iconic play, for the bad reason at least, from the game, and this was Chandon Sullivan once more. Now we see another bit of motion. They bring the receiver inside, so Sullivan gets mixed up, whether he's just trying to close off the flat or whatever. He forgets his zone coverage, comes straight down to the line, then back up again, and by then the damage is completely done. The icing on the cake though was this excruciating 51-yard touchdown run where two players, Brandon Graham and Crayvon LeBlanc, both hit the same hole, and they ended up chasing Barkley up the field. They go round the outside. It just opens a gaping window for the rookie running back, and you'll see a much better angle of this here from the bottom. Watch Brandon Graham, number 55, Eagles with some late calls again, and at that minute, Crayvon LeBlanc, Brandon Graham, they're following Barkley, they're behind him. One should be behind number 85, sealing that hole. They're not, and from there it's just home running. A great block downfield allows Barkley to shift through, get skinny, and make a play. I mentioned earlier that Malcolm Jenkins may have been MVP, and when defending this bench concept, which is designed to draw the safeties to either side of the field, leaving that hole, he was absolutely elite. You can see him dropping back already in the middle of the field, and just look at his eyes. He stays fixed on the quarterback. There's a post coming over the top, and he just leaps it. He breaks on that ball, jumps the route, and makes a clean pick. But the other underrated player in that situation, believe it or not, was Trey Sullivan, because the whole point of this bench concept is that the safety makes a decision one way or the other, and what we see here is Malcolm Jenkins drop back and offer that support. That buys time for Trey Sullivan, who makes a fantastic read and is there to support Malcolm Jenkins downfield as well. But into the second half, the Eagles, after giving up an atrocious amount of yardage early on, would only give up 56 total yards, and it was easy to see why, because they started making changes. There was less responsibility on all people involved. If we take this developing play, the linebackers drop back, the corners have 50% of the field, they've got one man to watch and a safety over the top. That buys time for the pass rush, who get a key sack on Eli Manning. And what about this? The Pickett defense that everyone hates. They normally rush 4, 2 occasions in the second half, they rush 3 and have Camu Grugier-Hill as the supporting linebacker. Now we don't see it impacted there, but the second time around, look at him there. We see the 3-man rush up front, Camu to the right, slips through, bang! He is an electric linebacker. His sideline to sideline speed is ferocious, and we see a prime example. The Eagles don't want to give up that first down. Love or hate this defense, Schwartz swears by it, but look at that adjustment, that new wrinkle. Grugier-Hill picks up the pass out of the flat and wraps up the running back. That is a great new implementation by Jim Schwartz. Essentially what changes in the second half, the Eagles went back to a much more conventional 4-3. That single safety over the top is now helping both corners who are just trying to shut off both sides of the field, and it helped so much. For instance, here we've actually got safety help for a corner who's beaten on the route. That wasn't there before. If we slow it down, we have a little look at what that means. It just takes the edge off. The corner's now not having to peek into the backfield and look at what the running back's doing, because that's someone else's assignment, and knowing he's got safety help over the top too. Here it's man coverage. Every receiver is spoken for. Eli Manning's got no time, and when he thinks about the check down, you've got two Eagles in space to just close that off. So even if he does take it, which he doesn't because he's sacked by that time, there's just no hope. Run defense also impacted as well. Here the Eagles have a numbers game. It's 8 on 7, and watch how Nigel Bradder, number 53, pushes off his block, clogs the lane, and wraps up Barkley. That's a much better run defense than relying on your front four to get it done and dropping your linebackers into zone coverage. Now there we see Cre'Von LeBlanc slip over, but if we freeze it before that slip, everyone's spoken for. That's perfect coverage by the Eagles, and when you've got someone like LeBlanc who doesn't have a lot of NFL experience, you're expected to have those few errors, although he does make up for it with a crucial pass breakup, which, let's be honest, was probably a missed defensive holding call, but again, that's a ref problem, not really ours. Essentially what we saw was an Eagles team who surrendered more yards to Saquon Barkley than they put up on their entire offense in the first half, then give up 16 rushing yards and 40 passing yards in the second. And the reason for it predominantly came down to Malcolm Jenkins talking to Schwartz and making those adjustments. There's a saying in England, KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. You take out all the unnecessary wrinkles. You don't need to be having corners who have little experience being assigned to 2 or 3 different jobs. They take that out, they simplify the defense. The result was a much more efficient look. I hope this has helped to explain exactly why the Giants couldn't get anything going, minus the obvious absence of Saquon Barkley. And again, if you've liked this video, please hit subscribe and smash that like button as well. We can't do this without your support, guys. We want to get 5,000 subscribers by Christmas. There are plenty of new series coming, including a Madden series on the way later this week. So stick around for that one. From myself, Liam Jenkins, we'll see you next time.